Happy Friday, America, and happy Thanksgiving. This will be the last time you see us before you're enjoying some family, some football, and some delicious food. Hope everyone has a tremendous holiday. Of course, we got a weekend and a Friday coming up, and you're at the right place right here at Happy Friday America on the Discussion Combustion Happy Friday America YouTube channel. You just got done listening to the Frickashinas. They rock us in and rock us out every single week. We love the Frickashinas. My name is Kevin Batstone. I'm here to MC this episode, have some fun, and as always, full sending with my partner, my co-host, Arthur, the south of the border lover, Rawe.
Let's go, baby. Bringing it in strong this week, bringing in strong energy on a Friday. We got a fantastic episode, so sit back, relax, and let's get it started.
Yep, let's go, Art. So, November 17th, this day in history. What do we got? We got to kick it off every week. What happened on this day in history?
This day in history, we had some really good ones that are all related to the United States. You know, it's only like we've been jumping around the world a little bit, but we're bringing it back to America on this one. So in 1800, the U.S. Congress meets for the first time in the newly built Capitol in Washington, D.C., which at this time, it was under construction. So the building was not complete yet, which is a little interesting fact. And it had been established by the Residence Act of July 16th, 1790.
Wow.
So that's a big act. Yeah, 1800. Kind of fun.
It is.
So continuing on the American theme, Abraham Lincoln in 1863 begins the first draft of the Gettysburg Address. Now, Kev, when we were writing this out the other day, because I'm not too sure what the Gettysburg Address is about.
Right.
I don't know what it means. And I asked you, and neither of us knew. Did you do any research in between now and then?
I did not, but I remembered, we were kind of talking how much I could recite 7 years ago.
Yeah.
Our forefathers set forth on this, a new nation, perceived in liberty, happiness, all that. So when you look at the time, 1863, what was going on? The American Civil War. Mm-hmm. And so this speech was delivered to kind of reiterate freedom and independence and the bravery that was going on because the North and the South were split at this time. Mm-hmm. And it was at a memorial gravesite for some of these soldiers in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. And so basically, President Lincoln at the time went out there to deliver these remarks to, reiterate the American dream and the freedom and, all that kind of stuff. So that's my understanding of the Gettysburg Address.
That's much more than I knew, and thank you for the brief history lesson on that.
Yes, I do like history, not quite as much as Lori, the history gal, but I'm sure she'll fact check me on a lot of that and tell me I'm a dumbass.
Yeah, and we appreciate the comments, everybody. You can also call us idiots in the comments if you'd like. Those should be turned back on.
They have been back on for a while.
Okay, that's good.
So
Thanks.
get in there and tell us how we're wrong about everything, really.
So jumping across the pond, this one is a big one. 1869, the Suez Canal in Egypt opens, linking the Mediterranean and Red Seas. Obviously, this changed maritime traffic forever till to this day. And when recently the Evergreen shipping container blocked that, it really stressed out supply chain industry globally. So what a huge event, the creation of this channel and of maritime traffic and trading and all this other stuff, man.
Well, anytime you can improve logistics, you've worked in that industry a long time. Look at the Panama Canal. Mm-hmm. That was huge. Instead of having to go all the way around South America, now we can just cut right through that sucker. It saved days on getting precious goods from A to B. So pretty incredible back in 1869. It's cool to see stuff like that, man. It's like I was having a conversation with someone earlier. Some of these structures and things that were built back in the 16, 17, 1800s are standing stronger and taller than some of these modern-day buildings that we see being built. It's crazy.
Yeah, it is. It is nuts. Dude, look, when I was going through it, November 17th, today, there's a lot of cool stuff that happened today. And so one more thing in traditional fashion, 1956, the USSR performs atmospheric nuclear test. RIP USSR.
It wouldn't be today in history without a little bit of the USSR doing some testing.
Some nuclear tests, man. I swear to gosh. How many fucking nuclear bombs have been tested on this planet?
Lots.
I wonder that statistic. I don't know that.
Lots. Definitely lots and lots. And I'll tell you some other things that need to get tested, and that's some of these airplanes, these carrying livestock and these animals. I didn't even realize. I saw a picture of what one of these aircrafts look like. Mm-hmm. They have it's basically a flying horse stable.
Huh.
And how they get some of these bred horses that do horse racing and different things to move them around the country or even around the world. But one of these planes took off from JFK and the horse got out of the stable.
Yeah.
On the airplane and was just roaming around this fuselage. And so they're like, well, man, we got to get back. We got to get this thing under control. I mean, I don't know why they couldn't have just gone in and kind of roped it back into the stall, but the fact remains they had to take this flight back to JFK, get this horse back in his stable before taking off again, which they did. But kind of interesting, man. They were on their way to Belgium from New York City.
Maybe the horse wranglers were not on the flight.
It's possible.
Right? Because, I mean, you think of like some good old cowboys. They're like, man, I'll wrangle this horse. I don't care if we're in the sky.
Yeah.
You know, I think they would have went after it. Like, it had to have been a safety reason to why they had to just turn it around opposed to continuing on and maintaining control of the animal mid-flight.
I think it also has to do with something with weight distribution because a horse is a very heavy animal, you know, sometimes over 1,000 pounds. Yeah, that thing roaming around the aircraft's going to throw off some of the – it's got to impact the flight somehow because I came home from Phoenix, Arizona on a flight that had 70 open seats.
Yeah.
And they strategically said, hey, we got to spread everyone out so that the weight is – you can't just have – you know, half the plane in the front, everyone's sitting here in the back. It throws off the balance of the aircraft.
That does make sense.
So I think that probably played into it.
No, definitely interesting. And yeah, like you never really understand how ingenuitive humans are. Like we've created something for almost everything. And it's really interesting when you dive into that. Like a specific, I didn't look at the pictures for this.
Yeah.
So there's like a specific aircraft that was built just to transport livestock.
It's basically like a cargo plane, but it still has to be pressurized. I mean, you can't put a live animal up there without it being pressurized. So, yeah, that's basically what it looks like. It's like a massive flying horse stable or livestock stable. I mean, you can get all kinds of different animals in there.
Yeah, that's super interesting. So, moving on here, weeks after Five Nights at Freddy's is released, Chuck E. Cheese decides to remove animatronics. So
I laughed when I saw that.
Yeah, so there's shout out to my coworker for giving me an idea on this one. But definitely a cool article here, an interesting read. So Five Nights at Freddy's is like a horror movie that came out a couple weeks ago.
Yep.
Where a security guard like gets caught and he's in this like Chuck E. Cheese-ish type of place and he has to he's stuck there. I haven't seen the movie. But then the animatronics like come to life and it's like a horror thing.
Yeah, that's I knew somebody that watched it a couple days ago and said it was really, really well done, well put together if you're a fan of those kind of films. I haven't seen it. I maybe saw a clip or two of it in the background, but I've heard good things about the film. What I find funny,
maybe I'll check that out.
Yeah, no, I heard it was good. I think it's on Peacock.
Okay.
I'm not positive. But the funny part about this is Chuck E. Cheese is now involved, right? Like they had to make a business decision to remove the animatronics, which I mean, we went to Chuck E. Cheese as kids.
Yeah.
That was part of the experience.
Well, I mean, these things have always been kind of creepy, right?
I would agree with that.
They've always been kind of creepy.
But they've always been there.
But there's going to be one single store, one single Chuck E. Cheese that keeps it. And that one is in Northridge. Northridge, it's just outside of Los Angeles, Northridge, California.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's where the one solo store will be where the animatronics will still exist.
Now everyone's going to want to go there.
Yes, so it's this whole thing, but I don't know. Maybe Chuck E. Cheese was already in development and had ideas about this, and the movie was the catalyst. Who knows?
It could be.
Who knows? Because what they're planning on doing and replacing all these animatronics is they want to have state-of-the-art interactive dance floors, a giant video wall, popular kid-focused arcade games, a new trampoline zone. So they're working on putting all that sort of stuff in there. I think it's interesting. I feel like those animatronics were always super creepy.
Yeah.
I kind of want to see. I do want to see. What is it? Five Nights at Freddy's?
Yeah.
I want to see that now.
I've heard good things.
Yeah.
I've heard good things if you're into those type of films. Of course, spooky season kind of just passed, but hey, you can cuddle up, get yourself some popcorn.
The fear never dies.
The fear never dies. So, good. Yeah, good find there. Good story. Think about Chuck E. Cheese pizza's not that good.
I thought it was like really good.
I don't know about that. I think it's overrated.
Wasn't it one of those things where it's like, got to take the kids to Chuck E. Cheese, blah, 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 but hey, at least I get some of that pizza.
I mean, it's hard to have bad pizza.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it was bad pizza, but I think it was overrated pizza.
Well, and pizza's one of those things too that you could have like cheap pizza and it's like scratching that itch. Like you're like, yeah, I wanted to eat that cheap ass pizza. Like that's exactly what I wanted.
That's just what I remember from Chuck E. Cheese. Like as when a kid, you'll eat anything.
Is it cheap pizza though? Because isn't Chuck E. Cheese kind of like expensive?
It wasn't when we were kids.
Like you're bringing 2 kids there. You're gonna be spending over $100 probably.
Oh, easy.
Between the food and all the games and all that.
It's like Germ City in there too. You know, all the ball pit and everything. There's like snot all over it and like.
So don't you think that's a
nasty
smart
shit.
place to bring your kids then, and that way like you can.
That's what we did as kids.
Yeah, I mean that's how my immune system became so robust as a child, I suppose.
Yeah, absolutely. We weren't practicing, you know, sanitizing and all that kind of stuff. We were out there in the mud and eating boogers and we're fine.
Yeah. R.I.P. animatronics and R.I.P. to the wait staff in Northridge, California, when you are the solo store to have these animatronics.
Yes, R.I.P. to that for sure. That's a thing of the past now. It's a thing of the past. So here's some crazy stuff going on out in Hawaii.
Yeah, I'm curious about this one, actually.
The pictures that I looked at was quite alarming.
Okay.
I mean, so there's a pond out in the Keala Pond National Wildlife Refuge in Maui, Hawaii, and this thing's been around a long time. It's a tourist attraction. People go out there for a visit. It's very pretty. You get to see some of Maui's, you know, gorgeous wildlife side. And apparently, all of a sudden, this thing mysteriously turned pink. You know, we've seen algae blooms in the past where it will go green or blue even. You see blue algae. But pink was a cause for concern. Some people thought it was purposely contaminated. Somebody put some shit in the pond to do that.
Yeah.
But I guess after further research, there's a specific organism that you know, it's like a microbacteria, and the levels were starting to rise, and that could be from a couple different things. Could be
an organism called halobacteria.
Yeah, halobacteria. It's, you know, it exists in these things just like bacteria exists in my fish tank. If you get a spike in that, it's going to throw off some things. So it has to be the perfect storm of the way the sun's hitting it, the growth of the bacteria. But in any case, people think it looks really cool because when have you ever seen pink water?
I'm sure it's pretty.
It's gorgeous. So everyone's flocking to it, and they're telling people, hey, you know, we don't know what's in there yet. Be careful.
Yeah. I mean, you always want to be cautious and respect nature as much as we can, especially in some of these wildlife refuges and these reserves, because, you know, there's a reason why it's turned into a national park or a place that we need to cherish and take care of. So my biggest thing with all this is go out, go enjoy, and have a great time out there, take in the views, but just be respectful.
Yep.
Be respectful of others. Be respectful of what you bring in, about littering. You know, we've covered stuff in the past on Happy Friday Denver about respecting the animals in national parks and things like that as well. So, or was that a Happy Friday America thing? I don't know. But either way, that's my main thing with it. I would love to see it. I got to go look at all the pictures of this thing online. And you could definitely check out all the pictures and everything in the show notes below. We got links for all that.
We do. Yeah, just scroll on down and you can check all this stuff out. Because some of the stuff that Art and I, we start researching this stuff on Tuesday to prep for a Friday show. And there's a lot to sift through. There's a lot of bad news out there. There's a lot of cool things happening, and we just try to find things that are interesting that not everyone else is talking about. That's what's great about here on Happy Friday America, and we have a lot of unique segments that we do, like the Would You Rather segment that's about to come up. So before we get to that, our last week's results. So last week's Would You Rather was, would you rather be able to, you know, understand every language or hear everybody's thoughts? Okay?
Okay, yes, I remember that.
So the results are in. 67% went with understand every language.
Okay.
And only 33% went with hear everyone's thoughts.
Okay. Interesting.
That's from the Twitter X poll, so be sure to follow us over there at Happy Fry USA. You can click on the poll. Tell us what you think. It's going to be out every Friday afternoon.
We both chose that same thing too, right?
We did. We were unanimous.
So that was
on that.
okay. So that was majority then for sure.
Yep.
So
what do we got this week, Art?
Yeah. Comments. We'll do the polls. That's so much fun. What we got for this week's Would You Rather, and this one came to me like whoosh, like something, a whip. All right. Would you rather be trapped in the International Space Station for 3 months or in a submarine for 3 months? So there's a couple rules to this. So you will make it back to the surface safely, whether that's coming up to the surface and or coming back down to the surface. You are alone in this venture, right? Like you're not communicating with other people. You're kind of just in this space by yourself. So with those things considered, like you still have food, all the necessities that you need, right? Which one are you going to pick? The International Space Station, or are you getting stuck in a submarine?
I think it's a tough one because both of them have pros and cons. I mean, the cons are pretty much the same in both. You're stuck for 3 months. So it's really a matter of where you want to be stuck. You know me, I like aquatic life. I think it'd be fun to be under the water. Hopefully I have some windows in the submarine so I can see all the beautiful fish and the sea creatures swimming around for entertainment.
Okay.
purposes. If that's available in the submarine, I'm
Well,
going.
do submarines normally
have windows.
Have windows?
Yeah, they have windows.
Do they?
Yeah, I've seen some. I mean, they're not very big, but yeah,
Yeah.
there's some windows in there.
And like,
or you got like what's the thing that you look through? On the submarine.
Periscope?
The periscope down.
okay,
If I had one of those, man, I could probably keep myself entertained.
you're going in the sub.
I'm taking the sub, man. I'm going
Really?
underwater.
Really? Okay, that's interesting. We're gonna be split on this one then. I'm going.
I like it.
I'm going International Space Station, guaranteed windows of the Earth
Yep.
and space. You also get to experience zero gravity.
That's
but,
cool.
But one of the biggest downfalls of that is returning to the surface.
It's a little pretty aggressive.
You're gonna be super weak.
Yeah.
Like, because you haven't been experiencing gravity for 90
That's
days.
true.
But they have all the workout equipment. Like, same in the submarine. Like, you have workout equipment. You can stay healthy and this and that. It's just which one are you picking?
Yeah, I mean, because the ISS it's big, but it's not that big.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, there is enough for you to move around and do your thing. Same with the submarine. Like, how big is the submarine now? Because if it's like that Ocean Gate thing that imploded,
Just
trying to go
a
see the
tiny little, no.
Yeah, like it would have to be like it has to have a kitchen and a
Like,
bedroom.
like you at least have like a jail cell worth of room and like a common kitchen area, but you're not interacting with anybody else.
Yeah, it's like a studio apartment basically underwater.
Yeah. And sure, you can have windows in both.
Yeah, I'm
Why not?
still going under the water, man.
Yeah.
I like my fishy friends.
Yeah, you do.
So,
you do.
that's
And you do a great job. Your tank looks awesome.
Thanks, man. I love my tank.
It looks great. Everybody, what are you going to pick? Are you going to get stuck in the International Space Station for 3 months, or are you going under the sea?
Who lives in a pineapple under the sea? K-Bat. All right, so yeah, be sure to Twitter poll, comment below, would you rather? And so one of the other segments we always do weekly is Kev's Random Records. It's one of my favorite segments of the show.
It is.
Because there's so many records that are happening all the time.
There's a bunch.
Like back Guinness Book of World Records when we were kids. I know we sound like old fucks every time I say this, but
Well, they still exist, Kevin.
I understand. But remember the book would come out, 2000, 2001.
Yeah.
And we'd get excited. We'd look through it and all.
Oh,
now
what
it's
is this?
like, it's just everywhere. There's just records being broken all the time.
Yeah.
With everyone having cell phones and cameras, like records are being shattered.
Yeah, do they even write a book anymore? Because like by the time they've written it, it's probably already not even valid.
Yeah, there's already all those records probably been broken.
Or maybe they write a book that's like the previous year's records, and
Could be.
that way it's definitive.
So yeah, so like when 2023 comes out, all the records that were broken this year
Yeah,
will be in that book. And then in 24, they're going to get broken again. And
It'll
then
be
they'll
like a
release that.
2022 recap.
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay.
That makes sense.
I mean, if look, Guinness, if that's not how you do it, that's how you should do it.
Fair. I mean, that's fair. So on this week's edition, we have pencils.
Okay.
That's right, pencils, Art. We have a gentleman in Iowa that collected 69,255 pencils.
Wow. And they're all unique?
They're all unique, so they're going back to when they were actually real lead, not graphite. He's got sports pencils. He's got commemorative ones from bands and different things. So just a wide variety of pencils across the board.
That's a lot of pencils.
And so it was he said the hardest part was counting them. They go, well, we got to actually get a count on this. So he brought in his friends from the American Pencil Collectors Society, which I had never heard of until reading this. There is a American Pencil Collectors Society.
I want to know what you showed me their crest. And their crest like has a whole paragraph of like a flag of information in the middle of the crest.
Yeah.
It looked like it was too small for us to read in that picture, but
Yeah.
I'm really curious to what the motto is of this.
I am too. The logo is quite interesting. It looks just a tad cultish. I did look into this American Pencil Collector Society. They were formed in 1958.
Okay.
And you can apply to be a member.
Really?
Of the American Pencil Collector Society. They don't just let anybody in.
No.
Just because we run Happy Friday doesn't mean we're in.
No, I don't think I would get in.
I don't think I'd get in either. But the fact remains, guys, 69,255 pencils. That is a lot of pencils.
That is a lot.
Like, where do you put them?
Now, I wonder, like, if the pencil can't be sharpened at all, like it's like, the flat cut at the end, or like if you're allowed to like have just half a pencil, what if they used half that pencil as a kid and then they're like growing up and they're like, wow, I used half this pencil that's a collector's item. Like, does that pencil count? Like, is there a rule?
I don't think so. I think it's just how many if it's considered a pencil, sharpened, unsharpened, whatever.
Does it have to be a certain type of like lead base, or like could it be a modern pencil?
I guess we'd have to consult with Guinness and also the American Pencil Collectors Society on some of the parameters that go into these records.
Yeah, and I suppose he couldn't have any duplicates.
Right.
So it's almost 70,000 unique pencils.
Think about that, though. I mean, it's just crazy. And I mean, some of them were designed to dial rotary phones. There were sports pencils in there, like I said, with team schedules on them. I mean,
Pencils designed for rotary phones.
Rotary phones.
So instead of like an eraser, it would have like a smooth, like rounded
remember,
edge or something.
And you put it in for the old rotary. Instead of using your finger, you'd always see them next to the rotary phones.
Interesting.
And dial it that way.
Okay, that's kind of fun. That is fun.
So kind of a unique record this week, guys. Pencils.
I like it.
Someone will probably break it, and that's a lot of dedication if you have almost 70,000 pencils. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, I mean, to get started on that, like, I don't know, man. I don't think I have 70,000 anything other than hairs.
Do you think you have 70,000 hairs?
I think I have more than 70,000 hairs.
There's probably more than that.
I would reckon that there's millions of hairs on our bodies.
Probably, but I don't have time to count that.
I think your beef's looking good this week too. Now that I'm checking it out.
Thanks. I took it down a little bit.
You did.
I did.
Well, it's still visible. So
yeah, I just took a little bit off.
Yeah.
Not much.
And so you're not going just the stash anymore.
I still have the stash.
No, but it's not just the stash anymore.
No, but the stash is still there.
Well, you're looking good there too.
Thanks, buddy. Appreciate
I like
that.
it.
Yeah,
I
the
like
beard's
it.
coming back. It's fun. It's fun to do some facial hair things here in November and having a good time going into Thanksgiving. You got some pretty cool stuff with some undersea volcanic eruptions that created a new island off of Japan.
Yes. So interesting little article here. About a week ago, this little island started to form near Iwo Jima, and that is part of Japan. Now, this underwater volcano is part of an island chain, and it's obviously part of the Pacific Rim. That Ring of Fire is what they call it, that whole tectonic chain right there. So it was erupting for about 10 days, and this was all happening underwater, of course. All the ash and rocks they broke top. They broke through the surface. And so now there's a tiny island near Iwo Jima that is forming. However, it doesn't mean that it's always going to stay. Mm-hmm. Some islands come and go. Like they don't always exist forever, depending on the occurrence, depending how long the volcano erupts there. So there's a lot of things that go into it. It's still interesting. It's unnamed yet, so there's no name for it just yet. And one interesting fact on here is that there is about 1,500 active volcanoes around the world, and 111 of these are in Japan, which sits on that so-called Pacific Ring of Fire, according to the Meteorological Agency.
Wow.
So that's really kind of interesting. You think about it, all the tectonic, Pangea, how the Earth, it's crazy, and the world is so beautiful right now, but it's forever changing and evolving.
Well, absolutely, and that's what's crazy about some of these natural occurrences, right? Volcanic eruptions create incredible things, hence a new island or something like that. And with those, fault lines and those tectonic plates, I mean, that's how we see tsunamis happening. Right? Basically, you have movement under the water, and it creates such a rip that it creates this massive wave that ends up crashing. And we don't typically, I'd have to fact check. Has the American coastline seen a tsunami? And like there has to be something that's measured, because we see tropical storms. We don't necessarily see hurricanes in certain parts of the country, but like an actual full-on tsunami, I'd have to dig into the weather.
When that Fukushima event happened, that nuclear event years and years ago for Japan, those waves were very intense in Japan because I was closer to this seismic activity, I believe is what it's called.
Yeah.
Those waves still crashed in like California and other things, but it just was toned down because of the distance it had to travel. So I don't think that would be technically a tsunami then.
No, I think there's parameters for what a tsunami is. I think it has to do with the height, how far inland it goes. Because you could have, massive waves crashing in and different tide shifts and stuff. And we've seen that around with even hurricanes.
Yeah, and one thing I didn't realize is that hurricanes and tsunamis, because tsunamis are hurricanes but in the Pacific.
No, you're thinking a typhoon.
A typhoon.
A tsunami is a massive wave. Yeah.
Yeah, a typhoon and hurricane. They're like the same thing in different oceans.
Essentially.
Basically.
A typhoon is basically a water tornado.
But it's also like a hurricane, isn't it?
Yeah, it has an eye and it's spinning.
Yeah.
So there is similarities.
Do they happen in the Atlantic?
Typhoons?
Yeah.
I think we typically see them in the Asian Pacific just because of the conditions down there.
So it's actually a different type of storm.
It is.
It's not just called different things geographically.
Right. It's the same reason you don't see a lot of hurricanes go up into New England and Nova Scotia and those areas. They turn into tropical storms and they die off because they need that warm water and those specific conditions to fuel these natural occurrences.
Yeah, no, it's interesting.
It is. I love talking about weather. And
yes.
that segues perfectly into our next article.
It really does.
So it's Thanksgiving weekend coming up, guys. A lot of traveling is going to be going on. So hopefully everyone stays safe out there. They are forecasting that travel is going to be up the highest it has been since the year of 2000, which is pretty incredible. I mean, it's over 50% of Americans are going to be doing some form of travel, whether it's driving to grandma's house, flying to see a loved one, military guys coming home. A lot of travel's going on this year. Of course, we are still, it is Friday, November 17th, so we're still 6 days out. It's definitely hard to pinpoint exactly what my forecast is looking like, but there's definitely active storm systems happening out there. Could see, a lot of rainfall, thunderstorms in the south. We could even see some snow coming in the Rocky Mountain area into Wyoming and some of those parts. Man, I remember a lot of Thanksgivings in New England, we'd have snow on the ground. It would be a snowstorm on Thanksgiving. So a lot of travel is going to be going on this year. The airports are going to be packed. DIA is under construction here, man. I've flown through there the past few weeks. I just recommend everyone get to the airport early. Don't rush it.
Yeah, I mean, there's specific rules that I was taught when I was young whenever I'm doing air travel. And that's, you just get there 3 hours early.
Yeah, and have a beer, hang out.
Yeah, take your time.
I'd rather be early.
Get through security, and then you're just posted up. Look, one thing I do is I'll get through security, and then I go find my gate, so I have my bearings, and then I'll time it out. I'll go walk a couple miles in that terminal, and I'm about to be sitting on this plane for hours anyway. Why not go stretch my legs and go walk for an hour or so? That's what I would suggest instead of sitting there looking at your binky, unless you got work to do.
Yeah. Yeah, no, absolutely. Or my favorite thing to do is, unless it's an early morning flight, is go have a beer. Get a beer, talk to some locals. Hey, where are you flying to? Where are you coming from? Where are you going? You meet interesting people in airports.
You do.
A lot of folks just have their AirPods in and their head down. They're looking at their phone. That's fine. I don't bother them. But if you want to socialize a little bit in airports, that's the time. But look, it's a stressful time. A lot of people are traveling. You got kids. You're trying to get them, to point A to point B. It's a lot. You're hoofing your luggage through the airport. It can be a lot. But
it's kind of nice though when you do go on those longer journeys and trips, because then once you get where you're going, you get settled in, and then maybe you do get some cold weather. Everyone's together. You got delicious food. You're all hunkered down, cozy in the house. The bad weather's outside, and for that moment, everyone's together. Everything's all right, and it was worth the travel.
It is. Once you're there, it's great. And some of these stats I found interesting though, Art. So they're kind of forecasting that 89% of folks will travel by vehicle.
Okay.
Right. So a lot of, like I said, driving to grandma's house.
By car.
But yeah, by car, or or I guess or bus, whatever. But by car, 8.5% will travel by air.
Really?
To their Thanksgiving destination. Now, I think this is also excluding business travel and things of that nature, because you still have people flying to and from that aren't necessarily doing Thanksgiving travel, but you just have this influx of people on top of that. It's going to overwhelm these airports. And so hopefully the skies stay clear, the roads are clear, everyone can get to where they're going safely. Thanksgiving is here, man. It's one of my favorite holidays. It really is. I love Thanksgiving. Like last year we spatchcocked that turkey. It was delicious.
It was delicious.
Mom and Dad and I are still trying to dial in exactly what we're doing. I think we've kicked some ideas around doing things a little different this year and kind of switching it up. But as long as you're together with family, having a meal, hanging out, that's what Thanksgiving's all about.
It is all about that. And yeah, hopefully everybody has a great time. Super excited for this weekend though. It's always nice to have some time off, and hopefully everyone's working hard and it's well deserved. What we got going on, man?
Man, cool stuff to do this weekend. If you're not traveling to your Thanksgiving destination, Ryan Adams is playing, man. If you want to see some good music, he's out there in Salina, Kansas. Kind of a small town out there, so it could be big doings for the folks out there in Kansas looking for something to do. Go check out Ryan Adams. That's tomorrow night, guys.
And then we also got David Spade and Nikki Glaser, Las Vegas. And shit, they started yesterday, and they're going through Sunday. So
yeah, they're there all weekend.
Look, they're busy, obviously, big names. I'm sure you could get a ticket for that, man, if you want to go in there and see them. I mean, David Spade, he actually liked one of our posts once.
Yeah, he did.
He did.
David Spade's a really cool guy.
For Discussion Combustion, yeah, he showed us some love to the show. Thanks, David.
Really cool guy, and so is Nikki Glaser. A lot of respect for her. Great comedian. So go out there, and you want to do some laughing this weekend before you're arguing with your family over politics next Thursday. Go out and get some laughs in Las Vegas. Or if you really want to get down with a jam band,
this is
taking it old school, jamming out, Madison Square Garden, New York City, Dave Matthews tomorrow night. Man, that's going to be a good show.
Yeah, Dave Matthews. Look, even if you're not in the jam bands, you know who Dave Matthews is, and you know the lyrics to one of their songs for sure.
I love the Dave Matthews Band, man. They always put on a good show, and a little bit more our time, but if you want to go see some good music, MSG, Madison Square Garden, come on, baby.
Yeah, that does sound nice. On this next one, look, if you really want to be successful in this, you probably got to be a minimalist. If you're not, then you're going to run out of space really quick. We're talking about the Florida Tiny House Festival. That's in Gainesville, Florida, tomorrow, 10 a.m. to 5 p.m., 1700 for those military time people out there. But I've always kind of been fascinated in the tiny homes. They're so cool, compact, and it really does highlight this lifestyle of getting by on the minimum. And I just think it's so healthy. I think it's so cool.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, not for me. I mean, I think tiny homes are cool. I would maybe own one on a piece of land somewhere as like a hunting cabin or a shooting area to get away to. That'd be really cool. I could totally see that. But permanently transitioning to a tiny house lifestyle is not really for me.
What about like you have a dope ass tiny home?
I mean, I've seen some cool
and
ones.
An awesome truck. And then you just tow your tiny home around.
But then it's more like a mobile home, which I guess could still be a tiny home.
Yeah, I mean they're road ready.
See, if I was gonna do that, I would just get an Airstream.
Oh, like a big bus?
No,
like one of the buses.
The Airstream, like those old kind of chrome silver.
Yeah,
you know, they're like the specific
looks
shape
like a
to 'em.
teardrop.
A little bit, and it's got everything you need in it. And it zips around, it's light.
Yeah. That'd be fun. Either way, that's going on. Check out all the tiny homes. Look, if I was in Florida, that would be one I'd be interested in for sure. Appreciate everybody tuning in on this Friday. We hope you have the best day. Fantastic Friday. And please subscribe if you're not. Definitely share it with your friends. You could also check us out on Instagram and Facebook. Happy Friday USA. Twitter /X. That's going to be Happy Fry, Fri USA. Send us an email. Give us some suggestions. Happy Friday, America@gmail.com. We're going to keep it coming at you. We'll be back next week. Let's go.
It's Friday. Happy Friday. It's Friday. Happy Friday. It's Friday. Happy Friday. It's Friday. Happy Friday. And next up Friday night. Yeah, Friday night's alright. It's Friday. Happy Friday. It's Friday. Happy Friday. It's Friday. Happy Friday. It's Friday. Fuck yeah, it's Friday. Yeah! Yeah, Friday!